talk about a brand that's doing something really different. It's not just selling coffee, it's inviting you into a ritual. Today, we're going to break down how HaPod uses its design to pack an entire philosophy into a single cup. All right, let's get into it. Okay, so it all kicks off with this really powerful idea. It's basically telling us, hey, look closer. We're being asked to see beyond just a label on a product and to view it as an entry point, a doorway to something much, much deeper. And that really brings us to the core question here, doesn't it? How on earth can a brand's design turn something we do every day, like making coffee, into a truly meaningful personal ritual? Well, we're going to use HaPod as our guide to figure that out. HaPod's whole vibe, its entire philosophy, is built around this idea of quiet luxury. You know, in a world where everything is constantly screaming for our attention with flashy ads and loud claims, this brand chooses to whisper. It operates on the belief that real value doesn't need to shout. So let's look at their design principles, because this is where it gets really interesting. The design is super clean, but it's not that cold, sterile minimalism you see everywhere. Instead, every single element has a purpose. It doesn't talk down to you. It trusts you. It trusts you to feel the intention, inviting you to connect with the product, not just, consume it. And this is where it gets even deeper. The design isn't just there to look pretty. It's meant to awaken a feeling. The whole idea is that the design carries what they call mana, this concept of a quiet, ancestral power that connects with you on a much more intuitive level. The brand starts to redefine some really core ideas for us, almost like a mantra. It starts with luxury. I mean, we're all taught that luxury means more, right? Bigger, shinier, more stuff. But HaPod flips that completely on its head. For them, true luxury is found in purpose, in intentionality. It's all about the care, the thought, and the deliberate choices that are made. It's about why it was made, not just what was made. Then they take on the idea of clarity. And in design, let's be honest, clarity can sometimes feel a bit sterile, a bit cold, almost like something's missing. But here, clarity is totally reframed as a form of reverence. It's this deep respect for the product, for the process, and for you, the person who's about to experience it. So it's not about creating emptiness. It's about making space for meaning. Okay, so that's all beautiful philosophy, right? But how does all this big picture thinking actually show up in a cup of coffee? Well, this is where the brand's principles get real, where they become tangible. And you can see their commitment right here in how they roast. HaPod chooses to air roast its beans. Now, traditional drum roasting gives you those deep, bold, ancestral flavors. But air roasting, it results in a cleaner, brighter taste. And notice the word they use, reverent. Their roasting method is a perfect reflection of their whole philosophy. So when you boil it all down, their promise is all about one thing, purity. We're talking 100% Kona coffee, always. No blends to water down the origin. The air roasting protects that purity, and get this, even the dosage is precisely calibrated to create a moment of ritual clarity. Every single decision serves the philosophy. But here's what's so cool. HaPod isn't pretending this is some brand new idea. Not at all. Instead, they're tapping into a universal human need for ritual, one that stretches across cultures and all of time. They're basically positioning themselves as just one voice in a global chant. And they've actually mapped out the journey they want to take you on. It's a 4-step ritual. First, the design creates an awakening. Then, the feeling it gives you is a form of education. That leads to an invitation to take part. And finally, using the product becomes an affirmation of your own values. It's a whole structured experience. And this desire for ritual is absolutely everywhere. I mean, just think about the slow, communal beauty of an Ethiopian coffee ceremony, or the patience you need for a Vietnamese fin filter, the mindful precision of a Japanese tea ceremony. HaPod is simply creating a modern echo of these ancient, powerful practices. Now, this isn't all just fancy marketing speak. It's backed by a really firm, real-world commitment. The brand grounds its abstract ideas in a very tangible promise of purity, which they call sovereignty. This idea that the coffee deserves to have its own uncompromised integrity, to be true to its roots. So to really get this commitment, you have to know a little something about the Kona coffee law. For a long, long time, companies could label their coffee Kona if it had just 10% beans from the region. A new law is finally changing that, raising the minimum to 51% to protect the Kona name. But for HaPod, that 51% law is completely irrelevant. Why? Because their commitment has always been 100% Kona. Their principles aren't driven by legal minimums, but by an unshakable belief in purity. This single number says everything you need to know about their philosophy. And that brings us to this beautiful summary. It just ties everything we've talked about together so perfectly. That quiet luxury isn't about showing off. That ritual gives power to our daily lives, and that thoughtful design can actually be restorative, a form of healing. So, let's just end with this thought. HaPod's whole approach is built on trusting you. It trusts your intelligence, your intuition, your desire for meaning. And it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if more of the things in our lives were designed not to shout at us, but to simply trust us to understand? What would that world even feel like?